married and having a family, that's just one option. But because it conforms to societal norms and historical precedent, it's something that men feel obligated to do. The truth of the matter is, it's just a paradigm that has not been challenged in a big way for a very long time. I think that a lot of our ancestors probably figured it out that living with a woman for the rest of your life probably wasn't an ideal solution for most men. The fact of the matter is, our ancestors, our ancient ancestors, spent an awful lot of time away from home. They were hunting and, and they'd be gone for weeks at a time on hunting trips, finding new places to live, just going out and exploring the world. Staying at home and being a father and a husband was not something that most men did a long time ago. Financially, single men do quite well. In fact, there are several studies that show that financially single men are doing much better than their romantically entangled counterparts. Now, granted, there are some benefits if you meet the right girl and she can pull her weight and help buy you a house, but for the most part, single men do much better on their own than having a woman in their lives. Budgeting is made much simpler. Prioritizing needs and desires is much more straightforward. You don't have to worry about, someone else's spending habits or their fetish for furniture or whatever it may be.
So I've just got to jump in very quickly now. There's a big difference between being single, isolated, married, and dating. Clearly, you'll save most money if you just choose to be single, but I said we're red-blooded men. We are sexually driven, so that's not likely, and that's not the kind of demographic that I'm usually talking to. And if you're married, you've crossed a lot of bridges. You know what I mean? You will kind of do things jointly together, but there's not that expectation. You're necessarily going to go Nobu for your dinner, and if you do, it's from household income a lot of the time. But if you're in the middle and you're choosing not to be married, and obviously, as I said before, you don't really want to be single, so you kind of like actively dating, that can be quite expensive. So I think, the people with most money, single, then married, and right last is going to be the people who are actively dating, because you have to finance lifestyle to an extent. And if you're trying to chat somebody up, you need to go there with an interesting proposition beyond just words and a walk around the park. And at some point you are going to have to invest something, maybe not Nobu, but something. And because you invest in something, it's something more than the single people. So but anyway, let's go. Point taken.
You can decide what's important to you and spend your money on it, or you can just stash that money away and save it for a rainy day or a sunny day if you like. But being financially independent as a single man is much more straightforward and simple than it is when you're married, especially if you're financially going to be caring for this woman and maybe even a few children. Oh my gosh, just look at the cost of putting kids through preschool. Forget about college. My God.
Listen, the one thing, I'm taking this point now, I'm going to rewind it just so we don't miss anything, but the one thing I want you to look out for, especially if you're kind of psychology backgrounds or you feel you're good readers of character, this man has got that kind of tormented, not heavily tormented, but got that tormented kind of demeanor about him, you know what I mean? So somebody's worn him down, somebody's been pressurizing him regarding money in particular, and you got to think about yourself in terms of your makeup. You know what I mean? Your kind of mental makeup and how you come across and things like that, and your normal stature, and whether somebody, whoever it is, including a woman, could ever wear you down to that point, or if there's just those kind of barriers. And I'm not blaming him. I'm just reading it. I could get it wrong. But I'm just thinking nobody's ever financially pressured me like that. They tried to pressure me into buying silly kind of bullshit gimmick things like, I ain't going to go into it. You just got to say no. You got to say no, married or not. Nobody can force that money out of your hand. Can you imagine trying to force some woman's money out of her hands, married or not? Not going to happen. So why would it happen for us? Brother, think about, oh my gosh. You've got to take some accountability, brother. You've got to take some accountability for what you permitted to happen. And you need to reflect on, actually, I saw this thing coming about. I saw those unreasonable expectations building. I saw this pressure to do things I didn't want to do with my own money. And I allowed it to happen because it couldn't happen without your consent. Blame yourself, my brother. You've got to take accountability. Not being harsh. That's just how I'm reading it. Let me know if you're seeing it either way in the comments. And I accept. I've only been watching this for So watching him for just about 10 minutes, I don't know who he is. It's just my inferences from it. And just a lesson to self, really, and anybody else who may be useful for. Let's go.